My guest on this episode is Agnes, who you will find on Instagram as the Ginger Witch. She describes herself as your crazy auntie doing all the things that you are too comfortable to try. And that is going to be especially true for you if you have ever wanted to go to a Shaolin Kung Fu school or meditate in silence for 10 days. For those of us who have at times been ruled by our fears and shut down by our social conditioning, Agnes is living proof of what's possible when you stop listening to those things. This is a really inspiring chat with someone who is genuinely a free spirit. Enjoy. So Agnes, welcome.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. Hi.
So, for anyone who hasn't come across, for anyone who hasn't come across your Instagram or your profile, can you please introduce yourself?
That one's hard always to introduce myself. So how do I kind of gather around this human essence that is me in the few sentences? But my handle is Ginger Witch, which kind of is self explanatory. So I'm Ginger, and I do like to live in synchronization with magic, with the world, with the nature around me, which just kind of means living my most authentic life. So I'm just a very curious person going through the life, trying to experience as many things as I can and sharing with that. So one of the big callings of my life is actually sharing what I do. So that's me.
And there was something which you put on one of your posts, which was you described yourself as your crazy auntie doing all the things that you are too comfortable to try. Where did
Yeah,
that
that
come
might be a little stabby at some people, which I did not mean it like that, honestly. But you know, I'm 34, so a lot of people my age are already settling down and starting with their families, and I just don't feel like this is a path for me right now. So I do still feel I have so much left that I want to explore. And for me, this barrier of fear of bravery and curiosity is just the same. So if I'm curious about something, I can be absolutely brave to do it. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people are sitting and thinking, oh, I wish I can do this, I wish I can go there, but I have this, and then I have this, and then I have this. But those are just excuses that you kind of make up for yourself. And if your really heart is calling something, you just go and do it. So for me, that has always been, I think, the easy step. uh, the hardest step is to actually getting the money to go there. But for me, going somewhere and getting out of my comfort zone is just, I think that might be my comfort zone. So, but that's a whole different aspect of the things to look
if
at.
discomfort is your comfort zone?
Yeah, I think so. It could be so. Yeah.
Is that something you learned, or is that something that you've just always kind of had?
I think it's just always been authentically how I am. I am just absolutely curious person. For me, routine is something that absolutely kills me. I couldn't have I can't hold a job longer for like, I think my longest job has been 2 years where I worked in the same place. So for me, it's just the way how I move through the life. It's finding new things to challenge myself with, and actually understanding that this is how I am has made things easier. I think before, trying to put yourself in these boxes of how you should be doing things was the one where I felt really, really not like myself. So yeah, it's been a long journey, let's say, to back to myself, to listening what works for me the best, which is constantly being in the move, learning, and experiencing through my body. It's just a very bodily experience that I think I need in this life, in this dimension of life that we are right now. Maybe another life I need a stable job where I sit down and write on my desk, but not in this life. So
I'm not sure anyone really needs that. I think capitalism needs that, needs us to be.
it could be that, it could also be that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say that there's one recipe for everyone, that how they should be living their lives. I do believe that there are people who generally love to do something repeatedly, do something that is very stable and very safe. And if we all would be globalizing around the world right now, that probably would not be great for the world either. So I do believe that some people are, I don't know, meant, but there's something to learn in every single aspect of how we live the life. So I don't believe there's right or wrong. There's just embodied living and not embodied living. So if embodied living for you is this stable security, that this is what you need right now, and you shouldn't be pushing yourself out, which is not giving you any benefit in the end, you know? Yeah.
How do you work that out though? Because I think obviously the dominant narratives of most of the societies we live in are you need a regular job, you need a 9 to 5. If you step outside of that, you are kind of frivolous or silly or immature. And so that's what we're kind of like kind of fighting against to get to a place where you are, where you actually understand what you need and are acting on it.
Mm. It's been, like I said, it all has been a journey for me. Pretending to be something else was the hardest part. And as a person, I do feel like I have the ability to blend in if I need to, wherever I can. And this is my, I think, probably one of my best attributes, that I can, I'm kind of like a chameleon. So if I need to be with someone around me, I can kind of adjust. So I think that gives me as well this very niche, I don't know if niche, but like interesting perspective of trying to live many different lives. So in my head, I've lived the lives of so many different people, and in that is just the process of elimination. So like, this is no, this is that definitely doesn't work for me. You never really know until you tried. So I just feel like in my 34, I've done so many different ways of living that I it just naturally falls back to your heart. It's just very much finding intention, finding awareness, and sitting with yourself, and listening to your body, of the cues of your body. And this can come only with age and practice. So finding these routines, finding these places, these practices that sits you down and kind of makes you be aware of, where's my head at, where's my heart at, like how my body feels. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Do I feel like my breath is constricted when I think about this? If I think about this, does my breath becomes freer? So these little cues, our body is always signaling us whatever it needs, what it wants, and we are just so great at numbing it down and not listening to it at all and getting out of it. So for me, it's just been a lot of coming back to myself and sitting with myself, and it's like, okay, yeah, like yeah, all the experiences I've had and all the decisions I've made, it's very hard to make a decision of what I want to do or not want to do. But then sitting down, taking the breath in and out and listening, it helps.
So are you, when you say practices, are you talking about kind of meditation, visual?
Yeah, I think a lot of coming back to myself and living more authentically for myself has become out of meditation. Meditation has been my biggest guide, my biggest teacher, and has always followed me. So my journey, I strongly believe that a lot of problems in the world are because people are unable to sit with themselves for 5 minutes and listen to themselves and listen to everything around and be embodied with this living body and space and where we are at now. So for I think yeah, Vipassana is something that really changed my life. Vipassana is actually a meditation course, which is a silent retreat that happens 10 days. And so the minimum amount, you go there and you stay for 10 days. You're silent. You don't speak with anyone. You can't read. You can't do anything outside of the meditation. And you meditate 10 hours a day, basically, from 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. How does that go?
That is something that really test test your merit, test your limit to the maximum.
Mm.
And I felt that I really got to the core of, I think, yeah, when you do it, when you finish the 10 days in complete silence, you feel like you can do anything in the world. Everything becomes so much easier.
Is
When
there a point where you feel like you're going to kind of break when you just feel like you're like, oh, I can't take this anymore, and then that's when you kind of get the relief on the other side. That's what I imagine something like that would be like. It would just be really, really hard, and then get harder and harder and harder, and then suddenly you get the relief of kind of.
Mm.
Does it work like that, or is it different?
Yeah, there are multiple days. There are some days when you feel like, okay, this is the worst. Then some days, oh, this is easy. And then other days when, again, it's the worst. But then just kind of sitting with yourself and being like, no, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to sit through this and know that this too shall pass is, I think, the greatest relief that you can really learn, the greatest lesson you can learn from that. But there are multiple ones. So, uh, just some suggestion for anyone who trying to look for a little bit more clarity in their lives and understand themselves a little bit better. I do suggest looking up. They happen in every single country, well, almost every country, and it's donation based. So you can go there and really, really get to the core of yourself.
10 days.
Yes.
Can you just do a weekend? Like,
No. There are some. I've heard that there are some that do only like 3 days. But to really get that deep, you do need those 10 days.
so tell me about the Shaolin Kung Fu school, because I imagine that wasn't 10 days in silence, but it did involve a similar experience of kind of resilience at times.
Yeah, that's why I kind of was talking about Vipassana right now, because for me, Vipassana was this yin challenge, this not moving, sitting in a lotus pose, meditating for 10 days. I've done it twice, so I've done 20 days like that. And it really opened me up for a challenge, I feel. And so after the Vipassana, I felt that I need something that would challenge the yang part of me. So yin and yang, I felt like it needs the balance. I've worked a lot on the yin aspect of my life. I worked a lot about in sitting and meditations. I do yoga. I'm a yoga teacher as well, but I felt like I need something that really pushes me, because and on the spectrum of pain, it's probably the same pain as sitting in lotus pose and having your legs feel like they're gonna fall off, and then actually sitting in mabu or doing jumps or kicks or boxing is gonna be equal in their own right. So I did feel like this is something that I need, and I feel like I have a lot of warrior archetype energy in me, something past lives, I don't know, but something that really needs, like, it needs to fight the system, the injustices, that I need to carve my way somehow to make myself stronger, not only mentally but physically. And so when this just I came up on the reel, so Instagram, thank you. I had totally different plan for my winter, but then I saw this reel of the girl being beaten by the stick and running up the stairs. I'm like, yes, this is what I need in my life. And these are this kind of moment where something just clicks, and something in the heart, you don't have to think twice. You're like, yeah, this is what I've actually been looking for. I did not realize it was an unconscious searching for something. And when it popped up, I just knew that this is exactly what I needed to do. So without further doubt, I got in contact, and I knew that I have winter off and I can do this. And basically, before I could rethink myself out of it, I just booked and said I'm going to be there on 20th of February. And I've never been to China. I've been only in Japan. It's like Asia has been a whole new concept for me. And It's a completely different language. Everything's completely different in the middle of China, in the mountains. So it's not like even the big city as well. And I did feel a lot of fear before, seeing how hard it is, how if I'm gonna cry. I knew that I kind of put myself up there. I'm like, I know I'm gonna cry. I know I'm gonna be suffering, but I know I'm gonna be so happy at the end that I've did it, because I know I can do it. Like my only concern was my body letting me down. Um, and yeah, and just jumping to it. So when something in your heart just screams like this is right, you can't ignore that. You can't just do something else. So for me, that was just inevitable that I go there. And I do feel like now this kung fu experience, these 7 weeks, have somehow altered me completely. I don't really know exactly how, but it has altered the way I perceive life, the way I feel in my body, in my heart, in my mind. So I do feel I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep coming back in one way or another, even if I can't continue this discipline, this routine in my life right now. I know that if I need to, I can. So that was the challenge I really wanted to put myself through, because discipline, routine, as I said, I jump around, I do different things all the time. So this was something that I needed a challenge in. And I now that you've challenged yourself and you know that you can do it, basically all the doors are open for me. So I can do a lot of more stuff that I never thought I could be possible for me.
So, like, how would you describe the change? Can you put a word to it?
I feel like I'm more authentically me in my body, that I don't overthink as much as I might have before. Because when you are going through the same motions, the same elements every single day, without any the one thing that you really are trained there is to stop the chatter of the mind, which comes when you wake up every morning and you're thinking, oh, should I sleep 5 more minutes, or should I go to this training, or maybe I don't feel so well so I could skip this, maybe I do this something else. So from the moment we wake up, we start to decide on things, we start to have arguments within ourselves, having this kind of chatter here and there. Should I not? And this experience, these 7 weeks, really just taught me to shut that up. So you wake up, you go and you train. So there is no decision to make about it. You are free. So basically, you are free to do this. You don't have to. It gives in a weird way of freedom. When you're doing the same thing repeatedly, it still gives you a freedom of the mind. So I feel like this experience have really taught me to stop second guessing the many things that I would second guess before. And if I just feel like I need to do this, I need to do this, so I do it. So I feel, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that is quite a gift, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I do suggest doing something that kind of gives you the freedom to let your mind go and stop making decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also when you described the kind of the warrior archetype
Hmm.
needing to fight, I think that's also what really attracted me to those videos because I feel quite similar to that at the moment. Have you had other women respond to that in a similar way?
Oh, I've been overwhelmed with people not writing to me and saying like so many beautiful comments and compliments about this video. And I've never expected the video to go as viral as it did. I had at least 4 people, 4 girls, writing to me, asking questions, and actually booking and going there. So that's for me is mind blowing that I could be this stepping stone, this reel that ignites that spark, that's something with speaks to them exactly in the symbols and languages that speaks to them, and then makes them make this action to actually do it and better themselves towards the self betterment. That's the greatest blessing.
It was very powerful. I think, yeah, if I didn't have a dog, I would have signed up myself.
Excuses.
Oh, I
You can
know. I'm thinking about
you
that.
can find you can find
He,
someone to sit your dog with your dog.
he's literally standing there going, "Do not use me as an excuse."
Ex- they know. He knows.
Yeah. So, how do you speak to your fears? Because obviously you mentioned feeling quite afraid before you went. How do you kind of interact with them?
I don't try to push them down. I know that the fears is just I'm very rational being in all of the ways I do things in life. I am very in my mind. So I know that I'm feeling this fear, and I also know that this is just something that my brain is making up. So this is not real. This hasn't happened yet. This is just my anxiety, my excitement. So I always try to look at fear and anxiety being the same coin of excitement. So when we can be excited about it or we can be anxious about it. So can I choose maybe that I'm not anxious, but this is actually just excitement that I'm feeling right now? I can feel anxious as well. This is totally fine. I allow the feeling to go there. I allow it to for a few minutes. I make like boundaries for myself. Okay, I'm gonna feel anxious and sad or whatever I'm feeling for the next 2 hours. After that, okay, we move on. Like you made a decision, you know it's right. It's gonna be great. We're just gonna move on and see what comes because right now this is not bringing me anything that I have made up these stories in my mind about the future that haven't even come to pass yet. So I'm very very rational. I'm very pragmatic on in my emotions and how I deal with fears. I would say, yeah.
Did you know that fear and excitement run on the same physiological pathways in the body? Did you? Yeah, you obviously already
Yeah,
knew that.
yeah, yeah.
When
So
I
that's
discovered that, I was just like, that is so interesting that it's the perspective that you put on it that determines whether it's fear or excitement. It's so empowering.
yeah, and there's so many things that it's just kind of understanding that I do have that choice. I do have the choice how I feel. And there's a lot of blaming of outside world. Oh, this is making me feel sad. This is like the world that this is I don't have money, I don't have car, so I don't have this. And this is all because I need to feel sad about this. This is I'm gonna feel sad or depressed about this. But like, yeah, I've really done a lot of work on finding to teach myself to be grateful of the things that I do have and I do feel. So it's just really a lot about training the mind to choose the more sunshiny road, you know?
Which is the more effective one, really.
Yeah. Yeah, because you are enabled to do more. You are inspired to do more on the when the sun is out, right? So
Yeah. Not that toxic positivity is helpful, but like the kind of approach of like looking at what you do have and what you can do, the way you describe gratitude. So, how do you balance kind of living a full life and financing a full life?
Yeah, I love this because judging by my Instagram, people are probably like, "What? How are you doing this?" But I've always been like this, so I've never had much money, so I feel like I could go and wallow how this has probably hindered so many things that I would love to have done by now, but everything comes in their own time, so um for me, I've traveled before when I had like basically 200 euros in my bank account. I still found a way how to volunteer and travel around Europe and find this to satisfy this need for curiosity and exploration and stories, as you said. Those are really important for me as well, to gather stories from people and get inspired by them. So I've always been kind of good with doing things with having nothing, really. Uh, but now I could partake this bigger project of going to China and having this winter in Asia, which I've only dreamed and been manifesting, I think, for the last 20 years of my life. Is because I found a job that really plays in my all of my strengths, which is I'm a tour leader. So I have my summer periods in Baltic countries. I'm from Latvia, so I do lead tours around Scandinavia and Baltic countries during the summer, and then off season is when I can then go in and explore the world. So even my job, which I always dreamed about, is travel and being paid for it. I found something that kind of is a gateway to that. maybe in time I do wish I want to make my own travel itineraries and bring my own groups of people to the different journeys. And I feel that's why maybe I'm going around the world like I am right now, because it's part of my greater mission, which I maybe hopefully one day can bring forward and invite people to join me on my travels. Yeah,
What
that'd
would
be
you call the tour company?
Oh, probably so. It's gonna involve the word ginger because that's been my staple mark for for some years now. On the broom with the ginger witch.
Yeah, I wondered if it would be the Ginger Witch in there somewhere.
I think I can't step away from that now. It's a part of my being.
It's good. It's good Instagram handle. So what do you think what is your attitude to joy?
For me, joy is my friends. Joy is the food. Joy is sun outside. Joy is the thunder and wind. Whatever evokes me emotions of wonder, of emotions of having this breath that I can take in, this gratitude. For me, that's a joy. But it can also only come when you realize that there is this other part of the joy, that this is not only something that lives in vacuum and you can be just happy and joyful all the time. It's just some that it comes with the understanding that there is other part, which is the despair, that you can also go into if you so wish to. But and sometimes it is the balance in between. So I can feel joyful because I've had my periods in life where I felt the despair as well. So I don't want to go into saying like, I'm joyful for life all the time, because maybe that's how people perceive me. But uh, there's this beautiful balance in between both of them, and both of them are kind of necessary to, yeah, to live the life as richly with this rich pattern of emotions that we can feel. So I've had a lot of periods where I've been down and in kind of slump and despair and depression, which then has allowed me to be in this joyful state, even with a bit more, I don't know, zhuzh, but zhuzh, a little more power. So I am grateful for the joy I have every single day. I try to remind myself that, yeah, I am actually, I can choose to be joyful. And I'm very lucky, and that I have been born where I am, and that with all of opportunities that have been given to me. So yeah, that's already joyful. I can be sad about other people. That doesn't mean that that cancels each other out. I can have this joy is something that real, truthful joy comes from something that kind of can develop, no, but involve a lot of other emotions.
Do you think it's something which, because I think a lot of people assume joy is a response to external stuff, getting engaged or getting a good job or, but actually, to me, it feels like joy is something that's actually coming from the inside and can be sustained and nurtured without. I'm just interested in your perspective on it.
That's interesting, yeah, because for a lot of people also, I don't want to say a lot of, some people probably, it's life happens to them, not other way around. So I just choose to believe that I happen to life. I happen to live. And I always I've had, maybe it's just because my upbringing or so on, I've never had much of expectations from others. So a lot of that I have is just because I believed I can have that. So I can see how other people take it this way, but for me, that has, I don't think that ever been the case. This probably has been. I have probably have thought about how, oh, if somebody does this to me, then I'm going to be happy. But that's been long past. I think I've grown out of that. Yeah, definitely.
Because you mentioned this is kind of like talking about self-actualization, isn't it? And you mentioned that in your Instagram. So how we've covered a few elements of it already, I would imagine, but what is your approach to it?
It's funny that you are mentioning self actualization, because this has been my side blog, the name of my side blog, right, for some time, which I haven't written in for
No,
some.
I found it and I was
Oh,
like,
you found it. Okay. Okay. It's still on. It's still working. Okay, great.
you've got a video, one video up, and that's it, I think.
Yes, I have one video, but I had blog. I had blog when I was writing on my travels. I've yeah, there's been some really nice. I'm very proud of the one of chapter that I did was 30 before 30, where I every single day until 30 turning 30. Because my birthday on 31st of May. So on May, I did one video of the 30 things I've learned in 30 years of my life. I do suggest everyone doing this challenge. It's very, very fun. It really opens up for you, for yourself to realize that I know more than I thought I know, that I've actually learned something in these 30 years or whatever years you're turning. So that was part of that on the blog. Anyway, uh, for me, yeah, it's always been listening to your heart. So, um, it comes back to the kung fu training. In kung fu training, my shifu, he said, we had not many conversations, but some conversations. And what he said to me on the last day was like, you are going to be good because you know who you are. There's so many people that come here that have no idea what they are and what they're looking for, and they just are trying to find themselves. And for me, he just said, you have strong heart, you know what you are, so just keep reading Tao Te Ching, keep practicing, and you're going to be fine. So it's been a very conscious journey to self-actualization for me. That's been trying new things. It's been having these quiet or loud moments with myself and feeling into what comes, and now not doubting myself. I think a lot of problems are when we start to question, yeah, as I said before, ourselves, and not questioning, but feeling, trusting that the instinct that we have, the body, the heart that we have that pulsates, are gonna pulsate on the to the places where you need to be. And yeah, my self actualization has been through these different things that I've tried. um maybe my biggest journey, my biggest challenge, my biggest Sisyphus rock is to master something one in my life, to become a master of one thing. But that's maybe also is just a capitalistic way of life that has been taught us that we need to master just one thing. So what I usually say, I'm jack of all trades and mastering many. Mm. And this self-actualization for me is it, everyone has something individual. For me is mastering these multiple personalities that I possess in myself.
I'm very similar. That makes a lot of sense to me. Giving yourself permission just to be all of the different things that you want to be rather than one. Why would you want to be just one? You know, life is so short.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doctor, so I'm gonna be doctor, and this is my whole personality. Great. No, this is amazing. I'm not judging doctors. You need people like that. But it just doesn't work for me. No.
Okay, so there's a whole thing at the moment about side quests and people
Mm.
put more into their lives if they can't go off and do something big through little side quests. So do you have any suggestions for like side quests that people can do over the summer that would help bring more, you know, what we've been talking about today, more self-actualization, more authenticity, more excitement into their lives?
Well, Vipassana.
10 days of silence is not a side
Yes,
quest.
it is. Well, when you look grand scheme of things, what is 10 days? Nothing.
I think I'd rather do like a Tough Mudder or another marathon than that, but maybe that's why I need to do it. Like,
Exactly. Um, it's gonna be something for anyone else. Like everyone else gonna have something that's gonna challenge them. It's just finding where you feel that little discomfort and excitement at the same time. So if it feels exciting but a little bit scary, do it. Like if it feels like, oh, this is gonna challenge me, oh, I don't know if I'm ready, do it, because you're never gonna be ready. So for someone that might be just learning to swim, for just a side quest. For some, it might be, oh, maybe I just need to buy a tin whistle and learn to, like, I always wanted to play music instruments, but I'm too scared because I'm not good at music, or whatever teachers told me when, imprinted in your mind when you were young. So just buying a tin whistle, like the easiest thing you can. And by the way, I have tin whistle and it brings so much joy. Like, it's the most fun thing to ever pick up. You can bring it with you on the hikes, whistle in the forest, make your life a little bit more whimsy. Tin whistles. Anyway, just finding something that just, yeah, just little things. It doesn't have to be expensive. Like, we have this idea, oh, to do something outside of the comfort zone, you need to have a lot of money. Trust me, I've not had money in my life a lot of times, and I still have somehow found a way to entertain myself. So these side quests is what makes my life exciting, and I feel like, yeah, that can be anything for you. But tin whistle would be number two. Number one, Vipassana, and maybe number three, going to China, Kung Fu. Something that challenges also your body, because Kung Fu in general, it means just doing something in routine, with the discipline. So Kung Fu doesn't mean you have to do boxing and all of the martial arts stuff. It means finding a discipline to do something for longer periods of time. So find your Kung Fu, find something that is, yeah, exciting for you, and just kind of dive into it. Head, head in. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Find the next thing. You don't have to, like, hang yourself up for something that is not for you, maybe. But you tried. How will you ever know if you don't?
That's good advice. So the last question I usually ask people on this podcast is, what is your one note on vulnerability? So the one thing you'd like people to take away from our conversation today.
Well, we all know the vulnerability can only come if we have the fear and we choose to be brave about it. So I feel like only when we are vulnerable we can connect with other people on the deeper levels. So a lot of this experience with the Kung Fu and everything was being very, very open, very vulnerable to a lot of people I don't know, and I just met for first time in my life. And that is something that's going to bring you closer, that's going to connect you better to the world around you, to the people around you. So being open and being vulnerable is how you connect. And putting walls around you is how you keep separate and alone. So why would you?
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Well,
Mm.
thank you so much for your time. That's been a really interesting chat.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I absolutely enjoyed that.
Balanced well-being begins with sleep, and our award-winning Doze and Dream formula was created with this in mind. This blend of adaptogens and herbs promotes a well-rested body and mind. I have combined reishi and ashwagandha with chamomile, passion flower, nutmeg, and sea greens. These herbs work synergistically to help you drift off and wake up feeling refreshed. Consistency is key when it comes to adaptogens, so make Doze and Dream part of your evening ritual to nurture good sleep habits and support restorative sleep.